All right, so recently someone asked about the Ozo Creator as thoughts for a 360 camera, and I hadn't actually heard of it before. Um, and I don't understand why a person would want to buy this camera. It's $45,000 in the U.S., and I mean its setup itself looks pretty cool. Let's see if I can get a shot of it to show up. And what you've got all these sort of cameras and the sensors and everything set up, but it's a nightmare to deal with. Like you can't stitch it.
Also, it looks super awkward because that's not the mount point, where it's the little sticky thing in the back.
Yeah, I think that's.
So now you've got. So how do you pack that?
Well, there was an image of a case for it. I don't even remember what it was.
Because I love having extra cases for one item.
Right.
Airplanes love that.
Well, and the weird thing is, I think that's where the media goes. But in looking at the quality, so there's a look here. So this guy here uploaded an 8K video. Where's my mouse? There we go. That's uncompressed. I figured the guy of the footage. And while it's uncompressed, it's not touched. Detail-wise, this doesn't look much better to me than what you can get from the GoPro Omni Rig. Which, yes, you have to stitch the Omni Rig together. But for 40,
but you have to stitch this as well,
right? And this one has to be stitched separately as well. And like the moire and like there's flicker, and it's just I don't know. For $45,000, I would expect more.
I mean, again, for $45,000, I would want a rig because then I'd have actual like camera controls. Like with
Right.
the GoPro, I can control shutter speed, ISO, white balance, Pro Tune mode, so I have a flat image. You could even, even if you went up higher and actually had like legitimate cameras, made into a rig, like for $45,000.
Right.
The Omni rig is $6,000 with its 6 cameras.
Yeah.
And you get 8K video.
Right.
Which is technically better than I think this guy does, because I think it does 4K by 4K.
Well, no, this was an 8K video that we just watched though. Like the option.
Okay, it was in 8K.
Yeah, it goes up to 8K. And so you can do it in 8K as well.
483.
Because it's spherical.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
But no, and like with the Nokia, so one of the things that like the app, so the thing with the Nokia that I don't like off the bat is that there are like 6 different apps. There's the preview app, there's a capture app, there's all these different things because it's not one setup.
It's called the Ozo remote.
Sorry about it. And so the Ozo remote that Abel did a video for last year, which is here, is what they're talking about. And so you can do some adjustment to the ISO and all these things, and it monitors the temperature of the camera and everything.
Not by a phone, mind you. This is through a computer.
Right, and I think that's the problem, is that if you're trying to be mobile and on the go, you're right. Like, this is a rig in and of itself.
Yeah.
That you can't control. And yes, if you go with the GoPro Omni, it's a rig as well, so you can't control those
but
things.
it's a rig the size of, like, let's say a basketball, maybe a little smaller.
Yeah.
Like, and again, you still can use your phone because the GoPros.
But how many GoPros can you have connected to your phone, though?
But the GoPro Omni rig syncs.
That's right.
So that you can change the functions on one camera, and it goes to all the other ones.
It daisy chains to all the other ones.
So yeah, I might not be able to actually preview the finished piece, which is annoying, sure, but it's 360,
right?
So I can kind of guess what it's going to see.
Exactly. And what you're seeing here is, again, this is Able Video Cinema going through and doing their setup for it, and so that little knob that comes out of the back is the actual...
it's the battery and the storage.
Right, and so it comes with its own internal storage, but we sort of did the math. He records 23 seconds of video, and raw file, it comes out to 3.9, almost 4 gigabytes of data.
Yeah, basically 4 gigs.
And so when you start thinking about that, like, that full SSD drive, which is 500 gigs, is going to give you about 41 minutes worth of video. The thing is, if you export it out at the highest quality rating...
I want to say is a DCP or DXP or something?
I can show you.
I forget what
there it is.
It's called.
DPX. So when you export out the DPX from this, that 23 seconds was going to end up taking...
122 gigabytes.
Right. So roughly that entire 41... so the 41 minutes that you get on the 500 gigs, exported at its highest quality, is almost 1.5 terabytes.
Yeah.
So storage-wise, where are you putting the footage that you're getting from this? Yeah. How are you editing it?
Like, how many laptops do you have that have 1.5 terabytes on them?
Well, and again, and when you go to the product page, it doesn't say laptop. It says a Mac Pro. Like, for you to deal with this and do the live preview and do the stitching and editing, you need a Mac Pro.
Because it's so much fun to carry those around.
Right. And so, like, it's not mobile. You can't really go places with it. And again, if you're shooting a film, maybe.
Or some significant project.
Right,
You've got some big new concert or whatever. You get the time to wire it in. But even then.
Like, looking at this, so the first 360 camera rig, the Omni from GoPro, the footage from this, and mind you, this has been color graded, I'm certain, and tweaked a little bit, but looking at this footage in 4K, it looks better than that uncompressed footage that came out. Granted, it's not color graded. The Ozo wasn't color graded, but even still, the detail that I'm seeing in this still looks better than what you saw. And I'm going to assume with the Ozo that it's just shooting at 30 or 60.
Yeah, you can't do 120 frames a second potentially at 1080p.
Right, and so whereas this with the GoPro rig, where's that one shot? Here it is, where the person goes.
Yeah, look up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's pretty amazing.
Right? To get this in slow motion from a 360 rig. Now, yes, you have to stitch this all together, but again, you're using Jaunt or whatever it was called to stitch these
plenty
together.
Of programs that do it. And again, you still have to stitch the
Ozo. Right.
And even just now, it was funny, we were talking beforehand, there's a one on Kickstarter now, the Sonicam.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the same idea, but it's only 4,000.
Which is funny because before we looked at the Ozo, I was like, I don't want a Sonicam, it's $4,000.
Yeah.
Bring up the Ozo and you're like, oh, $4,000 doesn't seem so expensive anymore.
And I mean, I'm almost a bit more impressed with the Sonicam because it has like 94 microphones on it.
Right.
Like ludicrous spatial audio. It's got, I think, even more lenses and sensors.
Yep.
You know, and I don't know, again, if it can do 8K recording. Some of the specs are not super specific on, which is kind of one of the reasons why I'm hesitant on it. But, like, I just don't see, this being a really practical option.
Right. And looking at this, the Ozo, again, like, you can see the size if you look. I mean, it's almost the size of this woman's head from CNET, who did a review on it as well. But, like, they've got a Blackmagic mini recorder to go between the two to get it to the laptop so she can preview it while she's out shooting. And I just, for $45,000, this seems like overkill.
It's like if I've got $45,000 I want to spend on a 360 setup,
right?
I feel like when I get to that point, there must be better options.
And again, look at the case. And
again, if I need that kind of a case for the Omni rig with GoPro, or any kind of rig, fine, that's a rig.
Right.
But when you sell these individual units, especially when the unit itself is made to be almost kind of spherical, to me it's because it's easy to pack a circle.
Right.
It's easy to take, like, the Samsung Gear because it's a size of a little bit smaller than a baseball, so you can take that and put it in your pocket or in your backpack easy. Like, if I'm going to get the rig, fine, I'll do a case. But if I've got this sphere unit, I want to be able to take it and just put it in a bag.
Right, I agree. Depending on what you're doing, like, sure, I'm certain that there's a place and time where this Ozo was going to come in handy. I don't think for the average or even above average user, it's gonna be worth it in the long run.
And I'm also not impressed with the audio.
No, because it's not even spatial audio.
I don't even care if it was spatial. I just, again, with the Sonicam, one of the big deals they talk about is, like, I want to say it's like 94 microphones, but, like, they're directional microphones, so they should pick up audio better.
Right.
And not have as much, background noise and hum and whatnot. And, like, it sounds like phone audio.
Right.
I feel like I might get better audio from my Gear 360, the 2016 version. And it's just, again, when you pay $45,000, I kind of want perfection to a point.
Right.
I want to be able to haul this thing out, record with it, and be like, this is going to be the best 360 video anybody's going to ever see. And end of story. And
this here is another one that CNET did when they were actually shooting with it. And looking at this, there's more detail than you're going to get from a Samsung Gear 360, 2016 or even the 2017 model. It's like way more detail. I shoot on the Ricoh, and like it's heads and knees above the Ricoh, but detail-wise, the GoPro OmniRig looks better.
Also, dynamic range-wise, look at the sky.
You know,
Like especially if you flip it around, and like, look, the sky's blown out.
Right.
And it's like, don't get me wrong, you know, I bring a GoPro, like an individual GoPro out, it's not going to be as good dynamic range. But at the same time, you saw people on a snow mountain,
right?
You know, and I saw pretty good detail.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, again, for $45,000, I expect so much.
Yeah.
You know, for $45,000, I can almost get a red camera.
Right.
You know, and if I bought a red camera that, you know, couldn't record that good of a quality into detail and didn't have the good dynamic range, I wouldn't be happy.
No, I agree. And I think that that's one of those things. Can I get this to go as well? Oh, look at that. You know, looking at footage in 4K from the Samsung Gear, like side by side, yes, these are completely different as far as the detail goes. You know, normally the Samsung Gear at 4K looks pretty good. Yes, you've got some blown out areas here, but
this is right now $198, like on Amazon.
And so, in comparison, would I pay $198 for this or $45,000?
I'd rather use the money to buy a ton of these and enjoy rig some kind of rig with them.
Right. And so I just think that it's asinine to ask for $45,000 for something that isn't mobile, you can't stitch easily. Again, and there's a preview app, there's an editing app, there's a creator app, there's a stitching app that go with the Ozo.
Well, a stitching app that is not an Ozo stitching app. It's one you have to go out and get.
Right. And so, like, to do all of that on top of a $45,000
which
price
I can't
point,
see how it could cost that much to make.
I mean, it's the
if
sensors.
the Sonicam can come out and be like retail, it's going to be $4,000 or $5,000.
Right.
Like, what is the Ozo have that? Like, what magic is in that ball?
I have no clue. And I think for the average user, though, your Ricoh, and I'm hoping the 2017 Ricoh has 4K, your Samsung Gear 360.
Well, you wait a bit, the GoPro's going to have the Fusion coming out.
Right, GoPro Fusion's coming out soon.
Which potentially has 5.2K, recording.
And so I think that...
and that's the size of a phone.
Yeah. And I think for the average user, or even the filmmaker who's looking to play around with 4K, I think that those three options are your best bet right now. I haven't played with the Nikon. I haven't played with the Kodak one either. But from those three, those look to be the best as far as what you're going to get, as far as compact size, ease of use, and looking at the apps. And I still hate the Samsung Gear app. In comparison to the Ricoh one, and I think GoPro, their apps are pretty good. So like the Fusion, I'm assuming
better,
the Fusion app is probably going to be pretty easy to work with. But again, you don't need to lug a computer around. Like if you're on the go and you're traveling and you want to get some cool sights, this woman's trying to show you Alcatraz in San Francisco, ignoring the fact that like she's got a laptop somewhere hidden that she's using to preview all of this.
It's probably underneath with a CNET.
Yeah, exactly. And so that like there's a laptop hidden somewhere, and for just the overall detail and dynamic range at $45,000, if you've got the money, spend it. But I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
So all right, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.